Hello and welcome to another jungle coaching, and in this one we have a silver Warwick versus a silver Kayn, and a blitzcrank who is invading, and a thresh who is hooking as expected. No one could have foreseen this at all. I mean, it's insane. Every time there's a blitz, a nautilus, a thresh, a Morgana, they're going to invade, and we have here literally a fisting 1v1 Chad battle of the top laners. Battle. Or like Lee Sin just straight up wins. Now, if you're the Kayn and you see that, and you're cheering him on, which is what you should be doing, always, and he wins, you're like, that's nice. If you're Warwick, then you're going, well, of course my top laner dies as I'm starting bottom lane to go and gank his lane. Now, the Lee Sin is going to basically go back to base and snack himself another longsword. There you go. So I only saw the one longsword, and I wasn't sure if he actually decided to stay like an idiot, but he did go back to base and snack that second longsword. So now, you know, that's a bit of a different ganking environment. You have to be aware of those things. A Warwick decides, listen, I'm going to snack this, press my W. Why? Is he worried about the Kayn invading? But then, of course, you're pressing the W too soon, and now it's on a 112-second cooldown, so you're not going to have it for the potential gank. In addition to the free jungle improvement PDF available on virkayu.gg, there are also copious amounts of courses and coaching for your specific MMR. One of those is the Iron and Bronze course, which allows you to get to Silver, along with a Silver course that allows you to get Gold, a beautiful bundle of everything you need to escape ELO hell. In Bronze and in Silver, the video course will basically deconstruct why you do what you do and how to fix those things that are holding you back. Why spend hundreds of hours figuring out what it takes to become a gold jungler, when instead you can have all of the information distilled directly into your veins, such that you can have it in a few weeks. That sounds pretty good to me if you can apply all the principles that quickly. Head to virkayu.gg, the jungler's learning paradise. You don't need your W to move a little bit faster to get you your blue. In fact, if you're doing buff grump, I would prefer you not to do that. The Kayn obviously is gonna, ooh, I like it. He's going Raptor solo into the Crux for good sequencing, into the red. Then he can, of course, swap down to Wolves, Grump, Blue, beautiful sequencing setup. Or he can effectively set up a reverse sequence, knowing that he did Raptors into the Krugs, and then he can fall back down to do the Blue initially, into the Grump, into the Wolves. You see what I'm saying? So now we've set up the Grump, Wolves, Raptors, Krug sequencing, because then he can cut down, take this, flexing in, flexing, and now he can set up a different sort of rotation for himself. And the idea with that would be basically so that we can stay out on the map a little longer, take this Raptor spawn around that 355 respawn timer straight into the Krugs and then reset. So it allows you a long extended sequence that just returns the favor and beats the Lee Sin despite the longsword disadvantage. And now Warwick will see this basically and say, well, I was going to do buff, grump, and gank it, but if you're going to do Chad-like things, then great. And if he was thinking about this, it's very, very interesting, right? Because the Kayn's obviously going to do this stuff. And obviously we see the pings. That means he's looking to flex into the push lane of the Annie with the Katarina. The stun is now used. We know the flash is available. We're going to hit that W. The Katarina is going in. She flashes. Does she just choose not to flash? Because that's a little weird. She should have flashed. However, Kayn does this stuff now. The Warwick's perspective is, hey, I leashed here. They know I got leashed here. I'm going to the top side. The Kayn will never expect me to reverse clear down to match him. And this is especially good if you think you can have prior, or you know you're going to have prior because you're a duo and things like this. However, I am not enjoying what I'm seeing here. So think about this logically, right? You buff Grump with the full intent of ganking top lane. Makes sense. After that, ideally, you're looking to shove and maybe snack this, but you're not going to have a lot of stuff to do between the top lane gank and the scuttle spawning. It's unlikely it's going to take you that long to execute everything I just said, which means you're kind of sitting around a little bit or just driving to the mid lane for a gank here. That's why I don't necessarily like the buff grump. It stifles your secondary sequencing. Its tempo doesn't necessarily always match with the newfound crab spawn timer. So if you're going to do this, it's better to go red Wolves Grump. Hey, can I flex this? At the very least, if you do so like super, super quick and it's like 3 minutes flat, you have time to do your blue and then do this afterwards. It just gives the time a bit more fill. But likewise, when you cross mid lane, you do this, or other things happen. This will respawn, and you'll have higher level camps on the map. It's not always this amazing, you know, huge thing, but it's basically saying, look, I got the 81 gold from the wolf camp initially, and now it's up again. So you're maximizing your gold income in addition to the experience. However, look at this situation here. We do this, nothing's available, so we reverse clear down. We see the Kayn do this. Now we know he's going to the blue side, right? 100% we know this guy's going to the blue side. We can do Raptors and Krugs and be super, super safe and counter game potentially because it's a push wave. Or we can basically say, look, I'm going to invade you because I know I can. I have lethal tempo, I'm Warwick, I'm going to invade you, chunk you. I know Katarina's coming from base, but maybe there's something I can do. And I would prefer to go and hit this plant and have a look. You know what I mean? They kind of just parole the rivers here with nothing obvious. Does he actually do it? This is what I'm worried about, is when we just waste time. Look at this. It was almost a really cool strategy, right? The reverse clear down, we could have just done the Raptors, but the idea of, hey, like maybe I can go and put some pressure on the Kayn here and invade him rather than just run up and down the river with nothing to do. At the very least, if you're not going to invade, you don't think it's a possibility, do the Raptors. I know it's not always good for work, but I mean, here we're doing the large one before the babies. It doesn't really matter as much, but historically you've always wanted to do the babies first, and then you use your Q on the large raptor as a single target damage duo. But as you can see, it doesn't really make a difference now in terms of your HP, but it really used to. I still think the optimization is there. It's just not really that important anymore. Used to be, when we had Hunter's Machete, because we would not have Talisman, which was the magic damage one that did the burn damage. Now we just have raw AoE damage for everybody. So way, way less of an issue now. However, we've basically achieved the exact same thing, right? If we're not going to invade the Kayn, we might as well do the Raptors Krugs and then look to do some kind of battle here. And of course, the Kayn is already showing bottom lane, as you would have seen on the minimap. I clicked a little too late, but as you can see here, pushed up. It's obvious it's going to happen. The Kayn isn't even thinking about the Warwick isn't even thinking about the Kayn, excuse me. Classic E through the wall. Blitzcrank goes in, says hello, nice little hook there. We'll hit the W, auto attack, free kill, free orbs. Warwick's farming. So if you're going to be doing this, do it in a way that... Why aren't we rotating, though? Rotate, 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 rotate. You see this, you should leave the Krugs. No one cares about the Krugs. You should rotate to this immediately. Now we're going to go in here and get the flash. We get the kill. I don't really care about the results base here. It's about why are we wasting our time finishing this? When we see this occur, just immediately move, right? Immediately move. Maybe you can get more. Maybe you can save somebody. If your ADC doesn't die or does die, whatever, it could have been changed. The outcome could have changed because you rotated. Now, of course, we run through the river. We have enough at this point for a Tiamat, so I don't know what we're waiting for. In this particular case, ask yourself a valuable question. I have full cleared effectively, reverse style. I've taken a Scuttle Crab, nice. I've done a counter gank, I've gotten a kill, but the Kayn's 3-0-0. And he's basically done the same thing minus a Scuttle Crab. That's not so good when you're a Warwick and he's a Kayn. So here, once you've done this, slap back to base, buy your Tiamat straight out, snack this baby, gank this sucker right here. Or actually, you should probably gank this first. You could smite snack this if you have it. It's pretty easy to do, actually. Smite, Q, off we go. Top lane, gank this. Cool, now Kayn's coming here, nothing to do. He's going to do this. Most likely look to gank this. So we can maybe counter gank if it's something possible. Otherwise, romp wolves, flex back to the bottom side, gank this. Now we can shove, now we can do dragon. Follow? I do a lot of these pathing extrapolation ideas and exercises in the silver course because it's very important in VOD review and in game to kind of understand what are the options and how might it play out, the scenario. Because you don't always have the practice in this elo, right? Because you're not physically doing anything. We're kind of waffling and wandering. And the Kayn, on the other hand, now basically is also... Well, what is he doing? Is he going straight to the dragon? I hate this. This is absolutely horrific. Don't do this. If you're farming jungler in silver, don't do this at all. The obsession over the dragon is why they're getting nerfed. I don't understand the obsession over the dragon. And Riot even saying in patch notes it was like the correct play. It's not even true. Because this was juice. And also, if you just did your camps, oh, Warwick shows top lane here, priming his E too soon. So the Lee Sin's able to reposition very, very easily, very, very freely, and we take nothing. We don't take anything as we go and do this. But it was a possibility. Kayn now is going to get a free dragon. Dragging his Kai'Sa away, not even the Blitzcrank, when he could have just done this. The Warwick should immediately realize, hey, if she dissipates up this way, why? Maybe because he's doing the dragon, but again, where's the pressure from the Warwick? I know I can beat the Kayn, I know Lee Sin's going back to base. Is he on this? Is he on this? What's going on? Let me find out. And he's just so far behind because he didn't look to invade here. He waffled in the river for a long time. He didn't rotate after the Krugs. And when you do that, or don't do that in this case, it causes such a sad knock-on effect to your tempo, or lack of tempo in the early game. Now this is insane. He cuts down just to do a dragon. He will be lucky that his camps are all going to spawn for the reverse sequence, but there's nothing stopping him from maybe protecting his camps from counter jungling here and doing a very similar play should Warwick show top lane. That way we still get a quadrant under our control and we prevent Warwick from counter jungling, which is something he could have and maybe should have looked to do. Instead, did he just... Stop skipping this. This is way more valuable. Oh, okay, well, technically, 81 gold, but the experience is way more valuable in the Grump than it is in the Wolf Camp. Why are we cutting that out of our sequence? It happened yesterday too in the gold course, right? And now we rotate to this. This would be a little bit of a waste of time. Like, you look at this, you're basically doing your Grump, you're doing your Wolves, you watch this here, look at this, right? You're here, you're doing this, now you're cutting across, you're watching this, you're like, hey, should I rotate to this necessarily? You know, I don't think we would even bother. You know, I know we're moving pretty quickly, but you wouldn't normally be here because you would have done this. So we would not necessarily have been in a position to rotate to this anyway. Although I like the fact that we actually showed signs of life when we tried to do it. But now that Kayn has basically done this. In theory, actually, if he intentionally said, look, I'm going to the dragon because I anticipate the Warwick's going topside, because I know it will give me time for my Grump, Wolves, Raptors, Crocs to spawn again, and I can basically full sequence up and do this, he could have done that. Now it said he's going to go onto a Thresh, into a minion wave to try and kill the Zero, and I don't know why. The decision making here is atrocious. Look at this as a jungler and critically think as you finish the Wolves. There's a Thresh, a minion wave. If I go in, what's going to happen? And you have to understand, it's not going to work out for you. You have to understand that the best baseline here is for you to simply cut up, take these camps. The Warwick shows doing random stuff here. Maybe I can save my Lee Sin, rotate to my Lee Sin. Now I can counter jungle here. This is going to be spawning. There's so many good things that he could have done by going for the dragon first, even though it isn't necessarily the best play. Now what you're noticing here categorically is that neither jungler has any sort of tracking sense. Any tracking sense. I focus a huge section of my content, in Silver specifically, across board, all the channels, all the courses, all the coaching, on tracking, right? Because you have to understand what are the triggers that let me know what the enemy jungler is going to do. Because you have to understand that the randomness that happens, while not predictable, safe here, is still basically something that you can kind of react to when you have the right tracking mechanisms. For example, we see the Kayn, red buff, 12 CS, cuts across here and he goes all in on the Katarina, right? Nice little trade here. He shows up down here, he will take this, he'll take this, right? So he's gonna have 28 full clear, we know that. When he shows up down here with 24, because we actually hung it out and took this crab ourselves, which is what you're probably thinking, right? Because the crab hadn't yet spawned, we know that when he goes back to base, all right, and he decides to do another full sequence, if he chooses to do this, he will have 44 CS. But because in this case he didn't choose to do this, boom, he should show up with 40. Now, as soon as the Kayn shows up here, so he shows here for this initial gank with 24 CS, right? 25 now because there's a mini. So we're watching this as the Warwick. You're watching this the whole time. We rotate super slow. We're able to kill the Kaiser. We're going to try to kill the Kayn. We burn his flash, and off he goes. Out of vision, right? Out of vision. He's now out of vision, 26 CS. We know that, right? So the next time we know that he does something, it's the Dragon, for which he gets 4 CS. So that's 30. And the very next time we see him, right, he's coming down here. He will die to this, of course. 38 CS, 39 because he takes a minion. 40 because he gets 2, actually. So you would press tab as you see him. You see the 38. The 40 is pretty much an obvious shift. There's no reason for us to go to his blue side jungle. If the guy shows up, does a dragon, disappears and comes back immediately, there's no ways he did the dragon, went topside and did these camps and came down. There's no ways he did these camps and did the dragon in that timer. There's no way, as you know. There's no way he could leave the base, do this, and then do the dragon. And of course, where did he go in the meantime, right? So, understandably, we should basically presume that these camps are gone. Random, yes, but can we reconcile it with our tracking fundamentals? Of course we can, and we did. Well, we did. He didn't. So this looking here is basically saying, well, why am I even going here? There's no camps that are going to be here. But I know basically through check now that he's going to be on the top side. We look to try and kill the Kaiser, but a bot lane doesn't. We're just waffling and running around randomly. And it all started waiting here for this, not looking for the invade, not basically thinking, hey, can I counter gank? Not rotating quickly enough to it. Now obviously the Katarina is pushing on the turret here quite hard, so you have to be careful about, he did actually walk across the vision. My bad. She was pushed up just a little bit. And of course that means when someone's pushed up on the tower, you know that you need to take this nice little hook angle of approach, this nice little down and across like a little bracket. And we know that the Kayn is now going to be on the top side, right? And now because we didn't do our Grump, but our Wolves, we did solo, our Blue and our Grump are up, there's an RNG scuttle up, and you can say, oh look, the Wolves are spawning for virkayu. Yeah, but it doesn't matter, I don't care about that, right? Because we could have easily done Grump, Wolves, done all this stuff, falling back to this side, and now they spawn again. Basically, all you're doing is losing camps, losing gold, losing experience, and you're not tracking the enemy jungler. So it's causing you to waffle a lot, causing you to wonder and waste your time. Effectively, what you should be looking to do as a silver jungler, good job Kayn, he saw this, he went for it, he took it because the Warwick wasn't thinking about it. Now we're trying to kill the Annie. Lee Sin's beating the Sett. Let's have a look here. Okay. Alright. We know Kayn can rotate. We know Katarina can too. And I know she's super, super duper low and should reset, but we have seen things in this life. And of course, the Sett overuses his W there. And we want to make sure we kill him. We do so. Lee Sin does some funny. Warwick does an actual nice gank. Kayn rotates to a situation where he should go, is there an 80% chance I can do something here? If not, then don't go there. Just leave, and off you go. The Warwick now, instead of saying, hey, 2 people are dead, let me do the Herald, he says, hey, let me do the Wolf Camp. You have more than enough time to do this. You're Warwick, and also, right, you guys can walk through this. You can walk around this, stick real close to this rock here, right? Like, there we go, there. You won't be seen. You won't be seen. And obviously in Silver, as you can see, they love to put control wards in here. And I do tell you guys, you don't need to put control wards in here because we kind of know who's doing what and where, but this would reveal you. But doesn't matter. Can you do this before the Kayn even leaves the base? Yes. As soon as they both die and as soon as Katarina's in base, take this, pull it out, and honestly, if you take so long to do it and something random happens that you have to leave, just leave. Give it up. But I don't like the fact that we killed top lane, we killed jungler, and we just took a wolf camp. You know, now we're going down to Raptors, and our Krugs aren't even up. Our quadrant isn't set up in a nice sequence. Like, we've got these two respawning together, and these two spawning at random times otherwise. So our experience isn't optimized. The Kayn, in the meantime, basically now says, okay, look, at the very least, my quadrants are optimized. I didn't like the high tail to the dragon, but, you know, he finished his blue side quadrant, ganked the bottom lane. Sure, he died, but then he goes top side. He wanted to do the whole quadrant, takes this, reacted to the information in the game. He's had a solid game, right? He's had a solid game so far, but he's also made some mistakes. PvP mistakes as well, and so has the Lee Sin, so has the Warwick. So let's have a look to see what changes here. Obviously, the Warwick now, basically, you'd say, well, why is he going to the bottom side? 99%, that's purely because the only camp he has on the map is Krugs. The only camp on the map he has is Krugs, and the dragon's going to be spawning. Even though this is available, this is all he sees. All he sees is the Krug camp. Kayn shows up over the wall, it's going to go and try and kill the Zeri. The Warwick is just not proactively tracking, not proactively anticipating, and you don't really need... Oh, he gets the kill, but like, why? He's finishing these camps. There's definitely an 80% possibility for us to do plays here. So leave the camp, rotate to the fight, pick it up, and off you go. Now he's just going to basically do this because Kayn is dead. He's not active. He's 1-0-2, but he's not active. He's got the same CS as the Kayn, but the Kayn has higher KP, and the Kayn has died. The Kayn has died 3 times, has higher KP, and is matching him on farm pretty much. So despite the fact that he's been gray screened 3 times, the Kayn is a dragon too. We have no dragons, no heralds, and we don't have a CS lead. And we predictably went for this dragon here. Obviously, we do have flash, we do have ult. Do we feel like we can straight up win this? You have to be strong enough to know that you can. There we go. Thank you so much, Zeri. See, look at this, look at this, look at this. Lethal tempo, Warwick is super, super good, super fun. But the Zeri sees this and doesn't go to the wave to catch the cannon first. She's going to get the benefit of getting it here anyway. But how many of you ADC mains don't rotate to this? And after that, of course, we move to the mid lane here. We don't have too much in pocket, but now we're taking a whole wave with a level 10 Katarina. We prime our E, we try and bait her in here. We use the smite, obviously. We're trying to avoid standing on the dagger, but we stand on the dagger. Not a fight we necessarily really want to take. Effectively, what we really wanted to do was try and go back to base or stay out and heal a little bit and maybe fight it for this next. Now, because we go mid and die, the Kayn says, whew, at least I can get this objective. Blue side bottom lane is straight up winning now. We weren't really anything to do about it, and the Kayn ganked it, and it didn't matter, which is why in Silver we don't focus on such things. We just say, hey guys, do what you gotta do to get your own econ, deny the enemy jungler, as Sett is destroying the top lane. No impact here whatsoever from anybody, really. Nice gank by the Warwick, to be honest, we'll give him that one, and the Kayn died as well, but the Sett just took care of business, as you should against the laning Lee Sin. Warwick now goes to the bottom side. Kayn now says, haha, hello sir, can I kill you? I don't think the response to that is yes. That has finished his Blade of the Ruin King. The Warwick now goes back to the sequencing. So, outside-in rule in terms of principle, not necessarily acting. Oh, but this, we do the red, we do the Raptors, now this will spawn. The camps are not spawning in a nice fluid way so that you can actually do things on the map in a fluid way. And again, we're not thinking about counter jungling. We saw this taken, we know the Kayn was here. Can I go do something here or dive this? I got a really fed bottom lane. Can we maybe make a good play with my ultimate and kill them? Can I take some camps before I do that and leave some deep vision? He keeps doing like a buff and a raptor camp or a scuttle and a wolf camp, no quadrants. And the fact of the matter is, your experience really starts to stifle over the course of an early game when you don't think about it that way. And he down 2 levels. Warwick does effectively show up here, which is obviously good. She will then flash over. We do have, I mean, you always should smite someone like a Katarina, just so when she does invariably do that, maybe you can get close enough for like a flash Q, right? Which is effectively what we want to do, but nice not over chasing. I don't know if you would have done it if Kayn didn't show up, but nice not over chasing. Again, we know the global timer of the red buff spawns here. We see the Kayn not having a red buff as he crosses, stuff we can take. Not saying necessarily you would in this case, but no, I would take it. So, oh, his red's up. The Lee Sin would show up here, and then I would just kill him. Kill him, take the red. Cool. Kayn's going down here, but Ziri's winning, Thresh is winning. Why would you stand outside of the minion wave when you know the Kayn is coming down? Attention, my friends, pay attention, because you know the Kayn's coming down. Look at this, he's just doing it. That's a dead Lee Sin, that's a free red buff, that's cool. I fall back to this, I reset now, I can hold this. Maybe we can do the... Oh, there's no sequencing, it's just a random crug camp. Oh, yeah. Look to do stuff before you farm, and then reward yourself with a quadrant. Or if there's nothing available, do the quadrant, and then go look to do stuff afterwards. Keep those camps respawning in sequence. If something's happening where you can rotate and affect it, don't sit and finish your camp religiously like that. You just sits and finishes hitting the babies, just leave, you know, go to this, defend, help, get 2 kills, shove, and then look to move pressure into their jungle, right? We see the guy here go here, I'm reverse clearing down, what can I do about it? I have prior Katarina's not on the picture currently, what can I do about this? Can I push him off? Deny, because when you deny the enemy jungler, they come gank your lane. And in other games, as we all know, as Katarina, ooh, nice little hook, good job Threshy. As we all know, a bottom lane can very easily coin flip in the other direction. Now we're just going to flay the minion wave, run into the Kai'Sa plus the Blitzcrank. We will get that hook at the end, most likely die. We're going to have to basically say, look, I'm just going to kill the Thresh, because, sorry, the Blitzcrank, because I'm going to have to, but obviously he has his flash available, and we'll just turn and kill the Kai'Sas. That's fine. Can't help the Thresh, but that's fine. Kayn is obviously dead again. That's why you don't play Shadow Assassin unless you are learning how to play as an assassin. Kayn is amazing for this elo, but you've got to understand those windows of opportunity, those access points, right? Those access points, and when you're flanking with your E, you're not just running into Annies from the front. It always seems to happen. It's like, hey, an Annie. She stuns and she kills you. High AP ratio. Now we actually do a little bit of counter jungling and disengage from the situation, so that's okay. How can we basically close this game out though? Because typically we have long silver coachings, and in these kinds of games, the Warwick throws, then the red team throws, but as the jungler here, you're 3-1-4, you haven't had to do much, but I think it's very clear that you could have done a lot. Okay, now good angle of approach is able to very easily kill the enemy Ziri. Now we're going to try and kill the enemy with a little bit of a flash paralysis claw here. Little scuffed, but we'll take it. The Thresh is not by himself. We hit that W again. We're going to start auto attacking. Obviously, you need to be careful of the fact that the Warwick has his passive and will rotate. We don't care. We stay. We fight. And the Warwick says, hello, priming my E, right on point, getting the flash E onto the Blitzcrank. So he's going towards our turret. Set rotates over, hits the E. Bonks, gets the kill. So in these particular cases, nice cleanup by the Kayn, nice shutdown. But what you have to focus on is obviously when to give things up and not over chase. Yeah, I like it. I like the Warwick's decision here. Yep, free dragon, very good. Very good. Ziri's not taking our Krugs, but hey, in this kind of game, just make sure you control these rivers, you keep control of those objectives, and really get into the jungle now, right? Push the map, push the side lanes, keep yourself really fed. He's had a decent farming tempo, obviously, and we have a lot of things we haven't done right in terms of just being active enough, right? And Silver, you've got to be active enough. We get max range hooked here, we got a Prime IE, we'll get the Fear to split up their team, obviously, and most likely you're going to die here. That was a disgusting idea. Oh, that champion is super duper strong. Nice flay onto the Katarina there, and he takes it with a hook. And our team has such a big-ass lead, I don't think it really matters at this point. But, as we all know, Silver is filled with throws and despair in these particular situations. The Kayn tried his best. I will give you this. The Kayn tried his best. I like the quadrant clearing. I like the idea to set up the full sequencing. I like the ganks on the bottom lane. But the problem is when you go here, and you die multiple times. Especially the especially egregious one was the 2v1 death in the wave. Like, why even do that? Just swap sides. Your bottom lane are losing now. You tried, you helped, cool. Keep the Warwick out of the picture, maybe salvage this lane. Too doomed, okay, then maybe do something about the Katarina. She was up 2 levels. Can we keep snowballing that? And the answer is always yes. Because take this, get a Fred, get a Fed, shove this, run bottom lane, 4v2 them. Try and find someone else in the game that can help you actually take over one of the other lanes that's losing. And on the main channel, gameplay channel, excuse me, I just put out a video last night about a situation where what do you do if you have 2 lanes that are really severely losing? How do you carry those games as a farming jungler specifically? When you have an ultimate that's quite potent and you have forms and orbs and yada yada, you can do it. And if he can do it in Grandmaster, you can do it in Silver. Because it's all about you and what you choose to do with your time as a jungler. Like now we're going to try and coin flip a second Herald here as the Baron's about to spawn. We're way out of position. We queue against the wall and faceplant. We're forced to ult to disengage. Now we don't really... Like, these kinds of things I don't understand because there's no coaching in the world that can stop you. The answer has to be, why did you do that? And the response always has to be, I shouldn't have. I was just not paying attention. But at the same time, you were paying attention because you see there are 3 people. You don't need the Herald. It's not worth dying over. You don't need this dragon. It's not worth dying over. Especially if the result is you lose. So you have to kind of put that measuring stick in your mind. Now, what's most likely going to happen here is we try and end. Everyone respawns and we die. And he says, no, let's go. Warwick says, hey, let's stay. Zeri gets hooked by the Blitzcrank. Katarina goes in, the hook misses, the dagger's on the ground. Will she take it? Yes, she will. The Annie goes on the Blitzcrank only. The Kayn says free for all in the backline, kills the Annie. Uh-oh, now it's doomed. We get the hook into the set ultimate. The Warwick's like, can I help somebody, please? We do have ult, but we're not really using it. We're kind of just trying to disengage here. Hey, what do you do in this situation? Just leave. Take all, push this up a little bit, flip back down, take this one. If they want to go for this, I'll base, buy some itemization, go straight here. In the meantime, we're actually just going to almost kill everybody, but it doesn't really matter. I'm not getting caught up in the fisting here. We're not going to end the game. We're not going to end the game. So there's no point even being here. I could just be taking everything, shoving this. You could be taking everything, taking this, shoving this. There's a lot of options for you to keep busy in a healthy way. But I understand we do want to have fun. But if you die here, you threaten them taking a Baron. You know? Fortunately, Thresh is hitting his spells and we do have the Blade of the Rune King. We have the good build. Although I would recommend you going a Sheen Mythic, not Jack Show, with this. Especially when you're quite far ahead at this point. We're 8-9. Like, that was a nice little turn of events. We stuck around, we healed, we did some stuff. But I'm much more of a macro guy, right? Oh, look, my team. Anyway, boom, 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 push. If I need to fall back and do this side, I will. Otherwise, I can just reset straight up. Take this, cut in this, go here, push this up. Don't really need the Baron, but hey, you can do that very easily as well. Now, what you don't want to do is put your whole team here, with their whole team being up, and they can just go do this. So typically, you would not really go bottom side here. You'd send the person with TP down to the bottom side. But I don't think any of this matters in this particular game. It's just basically run it down to the Nexus. But 8-9, you might feel good about this, and I think you should. Like, you did some good things for sure. However, I think it's abundantly clear if your bottom lane didn't coin flip for victory and the Kayn maybe made a few slight adjustments to his own pathing, you could have very easily lost this game because you weren't involved enough. You were waffling enough, and you were keeping yourself a little too out of position to maximize your own golden experience. So, a nice little silver nugget game instead of a 36-40 minute behemoth game, as we have a lot of those on this channel. Don't forget the silver course will give you everything you need to know from this video, plus 10,000 things more to get you to gold as fast as possible. The link for that is in the description below. Don't forget to like, share, and comment if you did enjoy and learn something, and as always, I will see you all in the next coaching.